what this means. That we've got some fish. I'm going to throw just a little bit of fish food in the pond for the fishies. See if they like the fish food. I don't know. Oh, I locked it. Ugh. Well, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually home alone. Everybody's got something to do today, and so, you know, I'm having a little fun with this. Hey, the fish ate. Awesome. Maybe I'll get him some more food. Check around the edges. Yeah, cool. The other thing that happened, I thought I filmed some of that, but I didn't really put much effort into it. Sorry, my neighbor's home from her vacation, and sometimes I feel awkward about shooting while we're out there. We've got all of this area mulched, and then we bought more mulch over there. I'll zoom and then remember to zoom back out. So it's looking good. It's little things, right? It's little things. All right, that's all I got so far this morning, other than I just wanted to come out and enjoy the lovely outdoors. It is Monday. I did have a bunch of conversations with the costume person for the shoot that I'm going to go on this weekend. So I've done that. I put my, that was in the hole. I've put my PTO in. My manager said that was cool. And I have to gather all of my running clothing and the items that she wanted. So, and of course, I was in the car on the way to the memorial service when she called, and so I've forgotten some of the things that she said. So I'm going to have to call her back. All right, that's it. That's Monday. Plan of the week. So it's going to be a 3-day work week for me this week, and I'm kind of excited about that. I'm perfectly okay with a 3-day work week. All right. I got some projects to do, but I have some work to do, so I'm going to go back inside here in a little bit, but I just wanted to come out and show you some of the stuff that we did over the weekend that I didn't film. I didn't film playing sand volleyball last night at all. Hot and sweaty. I'm still doing my daily pictures of the scale, which I don't share with anybody, but I did, as I noted, I put on 5 pounds during the week of my birthday. I ate whatever I wanted to. I had ice cream and cake and cookie cake and stuff like that, and as of this morning I've lost it all, so I'm happy about that. So it was a weird bit of weekend where I just you know how it is when you get busy and there aren't opportunities sometimes to eat when you're busy, and that's definitely what happened. I did not have a chance to eat, and I've been trying to stop eating at a certain hour. So I'm well over my 16 hours right now because I finished eating a little after 3 yesterday. So, but I actually stepped on the scale multiple times this morning. It's embarrassing when you get obsessed with that. But I'm happy with the results, and I'm not really hungry. So I'm going to hold off a little bit longer before I eat. I don't know when my next meeting is. Just finished up my work meeting in the morning. And that is the long, boring Dave dissertation on Monday. So let's get out there. Let's make our week. Let's make our day. See what is up and coming stuffness of stuff. Oh, I'm almost at a year of this, so I'm gonna figure that out again. I'm gonna put a little post-it note, a little note on my monitor so that I don't forget to make sure we celebrate 1 year of this. I kind of officially started on my birthday last year with the Cincinnati Bengals joke, but that doesn't really count because that wasn't really this. That was just me telling a joke. All right. I am getting to eat the pork chops that I cooked the other day that I complained about and growled about. I had one yesterday. It's pretty much all I had for lunch. And then this is my morning 10:39 snack-ish. That's a pretty big hunk for a snack. Love the sunshine. You gotta love it. I am sitting here enjoying my outside time. So I'll do a working lunch at the computer, but then I spend my non-working lunch outside in the sun. You know, got to keep the tan. You know, I'd rather be a tan fat guy than a pasty white fat guy. And I'm watching a little bit of YouTube, listening to a little bit of YouTube. Photo Tripper, Gavin Hardcastle. I'll put a card, probably it'll show up there, about that. And it occurs to me that I have some insight to offer about using this iPhone for taking pictures and shooting video. So here's my view, right? I've got flowers, I've got tomatoes and stuff. I got some, yard stuff too. And how do you take something like this, which is lovely, don't get me wrong, and turn it into an interesting photograph? Get closer. For instance, look who just flew up. This would be an unbelievably boring video if I shot it from far away, right? Oh, look, there's a bee over there somewhere. But it's interesting, the flower's interesting if I get close. I think you'll find the same is true with photography, especially when you're using your phone. You don't really want to capture what you can see with your eye, because in a photograph, that's actually kind of boring. You'll find most photographers zoom in on things. That's why the new iPhones, the iPhone Pro, has 3 lenses with a telephoto lens, but it's also got that wide angle lens. So the human brain knows what it can see. And to make an interesting photograph, you want to look at something from a unique perspective. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that is a child. If I take a picture from up here looking down at the child, that's not a good picture. It's not an interesting picture, right? I want to get down on the child's level to take that picture. Do you see the difference? I think that makes sense. So this is short, but I always tell people who ask me about my photographs and my eye, with your phone, get closer. Get closer to objects especially. People gets a little tricky because if you get too close, then the nose starts to inflate when you're taking pictures, because the perspective is kind of wrong, and it's the lens. It is with the lens. But generally speaking, you want to get closer to your subject. That's too close. Wait, what are you doing? Wait, no, that's entirely too close. Why? That's my no. Woo, no. Of course, the other thing to remind you of is the difference between optical and digital zoom. So this camera has 2 lenses on this phone, so I can, when I go double, that's still using the optical zoom. So this is the glass bringing in as much light as it can, zoomed in on the subject here. Once I start dragging that slider down and zooming in more, I can zoom in a lot more, but the quality goes down because that's just software zooming in on the 2x lens, and it gets a little pixelated, it's just not as good. So when in doubt, right, how do you want to zoom? With your feet, people, with your feet. Zoom with your feet, get closer to your subject. And I'm back in the office, as it were. It's just hot and I'm sweaty. I did want to show you some other devices though. So here is my old setup. They don't make these anymore. This was a site called Photo Jojo, which went away, which is kind of a bummer. These are actually quite good lenses. I've got a fisheye, and there's a wide angle lens, and there's a macro lens in here that would attach to the phone. So basically, as you could see, this would just slide over the lens like that. And then what you'd get through the actual phone camera there you go. You get that nice fisheye effect. As opposed to the regular camera view. Unfortunately for me, I'm between setups here. I want to invest maybe in some new lenses for the phone, because obviously I shoot all this with the phone, but really the perspective is good for most of what I'm doing. I do kind of crave the iPhone 11 Pro because it's got a wide angle lens on it, so it would make this a little bit easier. What's the point of all these, though? Again, it's, as I said before, it's about altering the perspective of your photographs away from what you normally see like this with your normal naked eye, because that's what our brains already recognize. And it's hard to say, wow, that's a banger photograph, if it's something that looks just like we would see it if we were standing there. So it's about composing an image, right? Making a composition, about finding something unique or interesting, a slightly different perspective. For some folks, it's color or black and white. They edit to make fantastical images, to make it their depiction of what they're seeing with their eyes, right? Now, frankly, for some people, it's also a chance to play with the perception of what it is that they're seeing, right? So they want you to see things in a completely different way, right? I also find that editing also is a way for me to replicate what I did see, because sometimes your phone camera, especially, and sometimes your real camera, doesn't see what you saw. So you have to edit your photographs by cropping or zooming or adjusting the color, or the saturation, the white balance, things like that, so that you can get the image to actually look like what your eyes saw. So what's the point of all of these things? For you to express yourself. Use it to express yourself. You're not necessarily just recording a moment. You're recording your moment, the way that you experience the moment and what you see in that moment. So play around with it, get up close to things, zoom in on stuff, maybe pick up a cheap lens like this. I've got another clip-on lens that I have, a clip-on macro lens. You know, play around with it, with the camera, and then delete them, right? Because it doesn't matter. It's your camera. It's only memory. So delete them, but play, practice, and you'll get slowly better and better at finding those interesting things, at least as long as they're interesting to you, right? They don't have to be interesting to me. Really final tip is whether you're using this or whether you're using your phone, look through your Instagram feed or wherever you see pictures. I'm assuming, of course, that you're interested in this topic. So find the photos that you really like that other people have taken and try to figure out how they did it. Try to imitate those photos. Now, this again, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but I don't really want you to copy people, but this is how we learn how to make our own unique images. Right? You've got to figure out, find some photos that you like and try to replicate them so you understand how that photo got made. Right? Try it. No car stuff right now. Actually, I have outdoor work to do. I'm here to get the sawhorses and set up a table out back. On a funny note, we made those boneless pork chops that I grilled the other day that I posted about. And here's the wrapper for them. So there's a big word on there, citrus. I've realized today, after having just one for lunch yesterday, that's basically my lunch yesterday with a couple of little pieces of Donatos left over. I had very little to eat yesterday. And the first thing I ate today was trying to kick off, trying to stay like maybe keto or do like a carnivore diet just for a little bit, lose a couple of pounds. I had one of those first thing for breakfast, and I had been in trouble digestively ever since, and it's the citrus. And I know that I don't handle citrus very well. I don't. And it just occurred to me that that's the big word that's on that package, and that's why I've been running to the restroom. You didn't want to know any of this, so back to work for me. So I have electricity over here. That's why I'm doing it this way. I'm going to set up the chop saw. Well, you'll see. Last one. Literally the last cut. Takes two hands though, so you don't get to watch. The beam closest to me is lower than the other beam. So they're all slanting uphill, all slanting that way, which means I have to shim up all of them on this side. Otherwise it'll look stupid. I have shims. It still sucks. after some math, I have my spacing figured out at least. So this much I know. I should probably mark those spots. But what I'm doing is I started in the center and then I spaced them out from there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little jig that I can set on top of that, and then it'll be the right distance, and I'll just be able to put it down, put the thing up against it, mark it, you know, insert it. And that's my plan at least. So we'll see how that works. Well, I'm going to say that it's not my best work, but it's not my worst either. Fairly even. Done.